Please have a seat, everybody. We're going to go on to our next speaker. He's a customer engineer manager at Google Cloud from London. Could you please sit down or continue the conversation outside? Yes. Our next speaker is a customer engineering manager at Google Cloud. He will be speaking to us about the intelligent customer assistant. Please welcome Nelson Pereira.
Thank you, everyone. Maybe to just energize the room a bit, I'd like to just do a quick poll, maybe two questions actually. The first question is, who has a Google Home at home? Who's experienced Google Assistant? And God forbid, who has an Alexa at home? It's all right. You don't need to be shy just because I'm here. You can tell the truth. Okay, so largely what we're going to talk about today is yes, chatbots, and you've seen a lot of presentations today around it, but really kind of looking at how you start breaking it down in terms of the conversations that you have, in terms of the tech that is behind it. But before, I did say I had two questions. I think I'm on my fifth now. How much time do you guys think that, and girls, think that we spend in terms of getting information? How much time do we spend to get the right information and searching for information? Any shout-outs? The whole life. Okay, very quickly. We actually spend 30% of the workday searching for information, and that's quite a costly process actually. And if we now change that personal paradigm to actually the consumer paradigm, which is when customers are interacting with me, what are the most important things that they are looking for in that experience? And that, as you can see, is either the service and the service experience, or getting an instant response is right up there as well, and answers to simple questions. So the top four are about communication, really. And you just had KPMG up here. You've already known a lot of these stats, but the idea is really there's a lot of opportunity in those in chatbots specifically, but also there's a lot of expectation as well from consumers, and companies want to get into this. This is new technology that can improve the customer experience, but also save a lot of cost and shave a lot of cost in terms of the organization. So enter the digital assistant age, really. Now, the first question that I asked was really simply to kind of come back to it here and say you are already experiencing it. One of the things at Google that we can see is that a lot of the searches that today are done on Google Search, where the little box where you put Game of Thrones finale or what is that song, is actually done today through over 20% is done through voice. So people are actually clicking on the button and actually asking the question rather than talking it. And the reason for that is that voice is intrinsically human. We love to chat, and we prefer to chat than to use keyboards. If you ever read Homo Deus, which is a book, you will basically see. It's a recent book that came out. Basically, it's analyzing what the tomorrow will look like. And one of the areas that the author explores is that we are limited in terms of our evolution. We are limited by the interfaces that we have. Those interfaces, for example, definitely are in terms of the computer and ourselves. Voice kind of takes us a little bit further in terms of that barrier, because it's a lot quicker to actually ask a question rather than typing it and going through the web page and trying to find the info that you want. And that's why you see the emergence of chatbots. It's not new, but with some recent technology developments, it's become a lot more interesting. So chatbots are interesting, and they've been around, as you know, for quite a while. What I want to really talk about is kind of what everybody was talking about before in the panel, but we're calling it conversational experiences. Because it's not just a chatbot, it's not a question and answer. It's actually having a conversation that you would have with somebody else. So we call it natural language understanding, and we call it, it's a term, it's a reference term in the market. We're not the owners of it. But it's this idea that you don't need to go through a decision tree. What would you like to do? I would like to buy a ticket. Okay, which ticket would you like to buy? I'd like to buy a ticket for Bon Jovi. Okay, where would you like to do that? At Wembley. That's kind of going down the decision choices. What you want to have is the same conversation that you would have with a person. I would like to buy a ticket for Bon Jovi at Wembley on the 23rd of June. And in just one sentence, you've basically indicated everything that you want to do. The next thing is to know the price and pay. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about natural language understanding. 3 big benefits, and I wanted to actually show you what we can do today. Yes, speed, we've talked about this. So, for example, today, you can actually ask Google Home for the price of certain items. And it can go into eBay and give you a price for one of those items. It integrates with eBay and a lot of other providers. If you want to impress your friends on a Friday evening and just showcase how you can do a lot of cocktails, you can actually ask the Tinder, not Tinder, tender. Okay, very big difference. Do not go and try this with your mom and ask for Tinder on Google Assistant. Okay, it's tender, and you can pretty much ask for what kind of cocktail do you want. Do you want Tinder to actually give you step by step, and it will tell you this is what it is. These are the ingredients, and then you can choose what is the next step, or do you want an overview? Because basically what it will do is actually give you the choice to go step by step, and now you put all the ingredients, shake it up, etc., etc. But it is a conversation with you rather than, again, a step-by-step approach. If you are on the go and if you want to just send a message, you just remember a friend of mine his birthday is today, and you want to automate a personal message, you can use shout out, for example. In terms of simplicity, you can get hotel advice. So if you are somewhere and you want to just very quickly search for a hotel near you, you can do that today. Domino's is definitely one of our customer references, and you can actually use Google Assistant to order a pizza. And very practical. This one I use quite often actually. It's the Wall Street Journal. And what it can give you is basically gives you an overview of what are the news. And then it asks you which one do you want to go into. And you have, again, a conversation around doing that. All of this without scrolling or without inputting a finger on the screen, nothing. This is all voice. I'll challenge you to do it on your Google Home this evening, for example. And you can actually also learn languages. So as this technology develops, also the use cases develop. And it's quite interesting to see these use cases that are being developed more and more. B002 is